Before the video starts, if you happen to enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Thank you so much. Pokemon is a franchise that has been around for over 2 decades, and with each new generation comes innovation and adventures the previous games could only dream of. If you ask any Pokemon fan what their favorite generation is, you'll likely hear a lot of Generation 1, or some younger fans may even say, I like the way the newer games look. As we've seen in recent years, Generation 3 and 4 are also highly fan favorites. But in my opinion, no generation has ever been as divisive as Generation 2, Gold and Silver. For those unaware, Generation 2 came out in 1999 and acted as a direct sequel to Generation 1. See, at the time, Nintendo assumed that Pokemon was going to be nothing more than a fad, like the Tamagotchi. But boy, were they wrong. In case you're unaware, Pokemon is the most valuable franchise in the world, currently. The net worth estimated to be higher than even the likes of Mickey Mouse and Star Wars, currently bringing in about $90 billion. So with such a prolific franchise, one would think that the Pokemon's second generation of games would be better than their first. Well, Generation 2 admittedly has a slew of problems, from poor layout to awful level curve throughout the game. But the one thing that really hinders these games are the Pokemon themselves. A lot of the Generation 2 Pokemon don't appear until the post-game, after defeating the Elite Four for the first time. And so many of the Pokemon that are new at the time would have immediately been latched onto by fans. Enter the starter Pokemon. One is a cute fire mouse. One is an adorable crocodile with all the personality in the world. And the last is just a weaker Bulbasaur. As many of you can guess from the title, today I'd like to talk about this little being that has brought so much joy to my life. I cannot allow any slander, as this Pokemon, Chikorita, was my partner through the Johto region. So today, let me tell you why the Chikorita line isn't as bad as you may think, and hopefully I can change the perspective on how the Pokemon is supposed to be used. Let me ask you a question. When I say starter Pokemon, what do you think? Best friend? Partner Pokemon that's there throughout the entire journey? Ace in the hole, maybe? Well, Meganium is most of those things. But unfortunately, it's not your ace in the hole. Here's why. First, let's start off by taking a look at Meganium's moveset and stats for Generation 2. Starting off, the first thing to notice about Meganium is its stat line. Unlike a lot of other starter Pokemon whose focus is to pick up knockouts, Meganium's strength lies in its support stats. With an attack of 82 and a special attack of 83, it's pretty evident as to why Meganium doesn't hit very hard. For example, Venusaur at least has a special attack stat of 100, but Meganium doesn't even break into the 90s. However, where it fails to attack, Meganium makes up for it with its ability to defend. Base 100 in both of its defenses and 80 HP makes Meganium a decently bulky Pokemon that allows it to soak up quite a few hits depending on its moveset. And speaking of movesets, why don't we take a look at what Meganium is rocking with? According to Smogon.com, a commonly used website to help determine the best way a Pokemon can battle in various scenarios, we can see that the very first set that is pre-made for Meganium is a support set, equipped with only one attacking move. The next set in line has a few attacking moves, but you'll probably notice that neither attacking moves are grass, and this Pokemon needs ample setup with a move like Swords Dance to really output any damage. As we scroll down and see what moves Meganium has in its arsenal, it doesn't really start to look any better. Razor Leaf is our best move by level up, and those only get outclassed by TMs that you receive towards the end of the game. It has poor offensive coverage, only having a few moves as viable options like Ancient Power, Body Slam, and Earthquake, and sure, it gets Iron Tail, but that only hurts rock types in this generation, and Grass already does that. However, before we go any further, we have to talk about Meganium's support moveset, because it does offer quite a bit of utility. And I'm going to read this list in alphabetical order as it will make things easier for me, but I will put the names of the moves on screen. We have Counter, Curse, Flash, Leech Seed, Light Screen, Poison Powder, Reflect, Rest, Sunny Day, Swagger, Swords Dance, Synthesis, and Toxic. As you can see, Meganium has a lot more defensive moves than it does offensive. Moving on to the last thing that really cripples Meganium, and that's, unfortunately, its typing. I am completely in the camp that grass-type Pokemon are great and get a lot more hate than they should. However, I can't deny that Mono Grass is a little rough, especially if the main antagonist of the series constantly uses Poison-type Pokemon, such as Golbat and Weezing. Grass unfortunately has quite a few weaknesses, making it not ideal to be a defensive Pokemon typing. Also, when looking at Generation 2 as a whole, it's very evident that Grass-type Pokemon just don't perform well here. The first two gyms are Flying and Bug, both super effective on Grass. Gym 6 is Steel, which resists Grass. 7th is Ice, super effective against Grass. And the final gym is Dragon-type, which resists Grass again. On top of that, the Elite Four have a Poison-type leader, which hinders Meganium even more, and also another Dragon-type user. All in all, it just seems that Meganium was never meant to do well in its home region, as it struggles to output any good damage throughout most of the major fights. But that's where I think most people go wrong with using this Pokemon. Your starter Pokemon is meant to be your best friend. The Pokemon that's there throughout the entire journey with you through thick and thin. That doesn't necessarily mean that that Pokemon needs to pick up every single KO. Pokemon like Feraligatr and Typhlosion are cool because they are strong Pokemon that can take center stage, and if you're a skilled enough trainer, they can likely solo the entire region for you. But Meganium asks the player to play a little bit differently. The playstyle for Meganium is a little bit more laid back, and it's asking the trainer to enjoy the scenery of each battle, smell the roses if you will. The main thing that I like about Pokemon is, well, the Pokemon. The reason why I like Meganium so much is because it struggles in certain battles. It's still a good Pokemon in its own right, but because of its limitations, I'm forced as a trainer to use other Pokemon in those gaps. And as somebody who's been playing Pokemon for over 2 decades now, I've definitely had a lot of fun using every Pokemon I can get my hands on. So in conclusion, I think that these Pokemon are pretty neat. I love them to death. They get a lot more smack than I think they should, and look, I get it, you know. They're not the strongest ones out there. They're not even the strongest out of the 3 that you can pick from, and they're definitely no Ho-Oh or Tyranitar or Mewtwo. But they're fun, they're cute, and I love them. Little bean. Chicory is a little bean. Look at him. Look at the little bean right there. Little bean. So, yeah, no, that's pretty much it. That's all I wanted to say. That is my piece. I love these Pokemon, and if you get a chance to use them, I think you should do so. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.